What's going on, Internet? I'd like to welcome you guys back to Respectfully Speaking, the podcast where we talk about all things geek. Thanks for tuning in into episode number 9. Now, before we get into the topics, if you're watching the YouTube version of the podcast on youtube.com/respectfully speaking, notice podcast is also available on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and all other major platforms. My name is James, and I'm here with my two co-hosts today, Jason and Malcolm. Jason doesn't have his camera on for whatever reason. I don't know, it's a Haitian
I
thing.
don't have a
But
camera.
Malcolm has his camera. So, I do want to say that I wanted us to talk about Joker 2, but we couldn't because Malcolm doesn't like Joker.
You know what? Fine. Yeah. I will reiterate what I've been saying before, but go ahead. Go first.
No, rock out, Malcolm.
Yeah, go ahead, Malcolm. Rock out.
James, introduce us properly.
I'll introduce you properly. So me and Jason both saw Joker 1, and we both enjoyed, had a great time watching it. Jason thought it was peak cinema, that it was the best Joker interpretation in the world.
It was a good
Nothing
Elseworld
could beat
story.
it. A good Elseworld story. I walked away from it thinking it was a good Elseworld story too. Is it the Joker? Not necessarily, but it is a good interpretation of what I would think a grounded Joker in the real world would be. Someone who had one bad day, bad luck, and then just caused mayhem.
He had a bad life, bro. Dude's
pretty much bad life. Yeah, you know. So me and Jason enjoyed it. Malcolm was the only one who was very disappointed. Because give you context, let's be fair to Malcolm here. He is a humongous Batman fan. I actually got him one of Batman's most iconic runs as comic books. He's really, really into the Batman stuff. So when he saw Joker, you have to, in Malcolm's mind, got to top Heath Ledger in a way, in terms of live action performances, right? And if you can't even sniff Heath Ledger's shoes, then to Malcolm, you're not the good interpretation of Joker. Am I getting that right, Malcolm?
Kind of. I know how much you joke around a lot, but you're actually kind of right.
Heath Ledger.
What?
No, I was about to say Heath Ledger's the best a grounded Joker can be.
Yes.
Yeah. But that is my standard, my expectation when going into that movie. Everyone was like, this is a great movie. James, you saw it before me and Jason, and then you went to see it again with us. And you were like, oh, it's a really good movie. You're going to enjoy it. So I had this very high expectation of a very good movie that surrounds the Joker. And then, whether it's some sort of origin story, it's centered around him. That's what I was expecting. And going into that theater and sitting down and watching that movie, I was disappointed in so many different ways, but the biggest way I was disappointed was that this was not a Joker story. This was a story about a man who had a lot of series of bad days, whether a bad year, bad lifetime, whatever you want to call it. He was not living well. He was not all right.
Yeah.
Nope.
And he just snapped one day, and he decided that he wanted to do whatever he wanted, kill whoever he wanted, and act up however he wanted. And whoever greenlit this decided that they wanted to slap the name Joker on top of this. I understand that there are different types of Elseworld stories where there's different types of interpretations of a character. But in my opinion, I feel like there has to be a baseline of how a character is or who a character is to call it an Elseworld story. For an example,
I gotta push back on you, bro.
Okay.
I gotta push back. No. Because listen. Because you're saying all right, it's Elseworld, which by its very definition means that you can play with key elements however you want, where normally adaptations have to stay within certain mythos boundaries, right? It's say for example, if you're doing a Superman story, you really want Superman to still be some level of a Boy Scout. You still want him to be not, even though he's an alien, he's still all right, I'm still more human than most people because I spent my whole life being raised by just two really good Kansas farmers and blah, blah, blah. So I really understand it as someone who's tried to fit in so hard, blah, blah, blah. If you take that away, that's a problem in any adaptation unless it's an Elseworld. And you're making all these you already started off with this big list if it has to be this, and this. And I'm but it's not the Joker. It's adaptation. It's an Elseworld. It's not the Joker anymore.
But all right. So my thing, and I'll give an example. Batman Ninja. Pretty sure that's what it's called, right? Ninja Batman.
Batman Killing Joke?
No, the Batman Ninja. It's an animated movie. It came out a couple years ago. It's set as Batman uses samurai in Japan.
Oh, my
I'm
fault.
surprised you don't know about it. Okay. For those who are unfamiliar with it, anyone who's not familiar, it's Batman set in like he's in Japan and he's like a samurai
Ancient
and it's
Japan,
like
yeah.
animated. It's very colorful. I feel like that is a good example of an Elseworld story where you take a character and put it in a completely different setting and a completely different circumstances. But Batman, to his core, is still relatively the same. Obviously, an Elseworld story, you can't have exactly the same because that defeats the purpose. But Batman, to his core, has certain things going on for him. You can take Superman to his core. There are certain things that if you just take away, is that really a Superman story? James, you're a huge Superman fan, right? If I were to make a Superman story,
like a Zack Snyder Superman,
but like no, if I were to make a Superman movie, but one of the key features I change is Superman is no longer an alien. He's just like he's not from Krypton. He's just some random dude who got like mutated into like a super being. Is that still a Superman
That's not
story?
Superman.
Okay.
No, it's not Superman.
What is that? But I still call it Superman. He's still wearing the S. He has the cape. Is that still Superman?
Does he have the powers?
That's called
he has some
profiting
powers.
off of an IP.
Okay.
That's all it is.
And for me, that's similar to the same idea that I have with this movie. You can say a lot of different things about the Joker that like what makes him who he is and blah blah blah. Like whether it's the green hair, any other physical feature, like the makeup, whatever. I really believe one of the core features of the Joker that's really important that a lot of people may not understand is that he's a criminal mastermind. He's a genius. Like him and Batman don't just go after each other because one man likes crime and there's a bunch of different criminals and like they act differently. Joker can like act similar to that. But what makes their dynamic so good is that they're both intellectually geniuses that happen to go in different directions. Joker is a criminal mastermind who can come up with so many complex plots and like schemes to either foil Batman or foil the police or anyone who he's trying to like manipulate or other criminals to that fact. Like he is going to outsmart so many different people. And Batman to that is also genius, obviously everyone we know, and like that's what makes their dynamic, their interaction so interesting. And so for me, when I watched this movie, I know that Batman wasn't going to be in the movie. That's fine, but Joker to me there was no semblance of criminal mastermind. There was zero semblance of it. Like he was just.
I'll agree. It was a cash grab with his name on it. I will agree to that.
He was
that
just
didn't make
dude.
it an unenjoyable movie.
I wasn't going to argue that. I thought the movie, as if it was like a movie in general, I thought it was fine. I was like, okay, this is interesting. I would probably, if it was called something else, I'd be like, oh, this was a good movie. I would probably watch it again. But specifically because they went out of their way to claim it to be Joker from the DC universe, and people hyped it up as like this is a great Joker story. And for me to come away with this is just some average guy who's just happens to throw on face paint and green hair and have a really bad day and like maybe tell some jokes or whatever. Like the Joker telling jokes is not what makes him the Joker. It's him being able to come up with such complex schemes to like get the things that he wants just because he wants to cause chaos. Arthur Fleck, is that what his name is in the movie? I have seen
Arthur Fleck.
Yeah.
He wanted to cause chaos, but because he was having a bad day, not because he enjoys it.
Let me throw
Is that fair to say?
real quick.
Not really.
Okay.
Here's what I'll say. When it sounds so, we're having two separate arguments in a way, a little bit, but in a way, I think what the discussion really is now is more so what is seen as a good Elseworld and a bad Elseworld attempt. If you're taking just the image of a character and you put them in this story, but they act completely not even the bare bones characteristic of the character, even though you say it's Elseworlds, does that then just make it still a good Elseworld movie? Because if you look at Joker 1 could be, like Jason says, is entertaining and has a good message about mental health issues and how society deals with people who have a bad day and how they just need help, etc. But does that inherently mean that it should be considered a Joker film in a way? So I think that's really where it's going through. And Jason, one thing you pointed out too is that um, there are I do like, for example, Superman Red Sun is about Superman, but instead of growing up in Kansas with with loving parents, he's raised in Russian government holding essentially. But in the story, Superman still has what makes people like Superman essentially. Like it's still there.
His personality is all different.
His personality is different, but when Superman, I think the point that they want to hit at is that regardless of where he comes from, where he lands, he will still have that smidge of what people enjoyed about Superman. Now, to be very fair, you are right that he does do some different stuff, but
he kills way more freely. These are core tenets of Superman.
That's fair.
Hey, they do that. Look, if they can do it in Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman, it's all good, right?
Dude, the Snyderverse is not a good example to quote right now, bro.
But
Snyderverse was trash.
I do think that at the end of the day, he says. I do think at the end of the day, I do think that with Joker, it is. I see Arthur Fleck as being Joker in a way. I do see it. I just see it as something that not a lot of Joker fans will like. If you want the conniving criminal mastermind Joker, this is not it. This is the Joker in Earth 1666 or wherever you want to put it, where he's just a random dude with absolutely no idea how to come up with a master plan. And it's kind of funny that you guys talk about this too, because even in Joker, the director of Joker 1 and Joker 2 even came out and said that Arthur Fleck was not supposed to be Joker. Like, he's not Joker. Even though specifically you title the movie's Joker, you even say in the movie, or at least not in the movie, but actually in the script that is the official screenplay, he calls him, he has now become the Joker. But for some reason, because of the backlash of Joker 2 and a lot of people being upset about whatever happens, I never seen it, but he's going back on his word of now saying, oh, this was never a Joker type of interpretation. It's just some random mentally health guy.
That's damage control, bro.
It is.
And that speaks to another issue I have.
But that actually proves my point. But go.
All right. I'll concede to your point, Malcolm. Just so far as you're right, like, this isn't the Joker. I think they called the movie Joker, obviously to pull in Batman fans, but it was an objectively entertaining movie, and it broke records for rated R movies. Period. And I think that's worth something. No matter what you say. Like, I think that's worth something. But then again, the original question, the reason why we even brought this up is like, all right, like, Joker 1. Me and James liked it, you didn't. All three of us haven't seen it for the same reason. Because me and James agreed that there was no reason for a sequel. It was a closed story. And adding anything to it is a terrible idea. Second, we need to get Harley Quinn out of production for a while. She needs to be on the bench because she got way too much. Because there's so many other characters that really need the exposure. Wonder Woman's one of the DC Justice League Trinity, and she hasn't gotten a third of the exposure Harley Quinn's gotten. And Harley Quinn's not even a comic original character. She's from a cartoon.
Batman animated series,
from 30 years ago. Not even.
I would love a Wonder Woman animated series. Just something,
Facts. And Harley, man, Kite Man has a damn cartoon.
That's
Kite Man has a cartoon, insane. But we don't have Zatanna. We don't like Blue Beetle's getting love recently. That's dope. Yeah, I'm happy for that. So we don't got Zatanna. We don't got Wonder Woman. Well, who else?
Dr. Fate.
Dr. Fate's a dope character. There's so many different things you could do. But no, they decided to have a mid season 3 and season 4 of Young Justice, and then drop the ball entirely, and then just do Suicide Squad everything, even though nobody asked for that much Suicide Squad. To the point that Joker 2, they just throw Harley Quinn in there, like, all right, cool. Like, it's almost like, let's run this play until it doesn't work. That's what DC's doing right now.
And they wanted to throw in, Now I'll give credit. They took a big swing creatively. They wanted to make they made this into a musical, from what I heard. But they also during the press run didn't want to call it a musical. I remember there was a quote of, I think it was either Lady Gaga or the director himself, saying that like, well, Arthur's not like, it's not really a musical. Like Arthur's just really like singing stuff that's coming like from his, like how he feels at the moment.
That's a
And I'm
musical,
like,
bro.
that's a musical. That's a definition
That's,
of a
like,
musical.
yeah, like, if you're singing in
So
a production, that's a musical.
yeah,
He's like
Yeah.
singing the script while dancing
Yeah.
the numbers.
that's a musical. So I do wonder how it's going to fare with Joker 2. I mean, right now we heard it's bombed in the second weekend like very badly.
Mhm.
It has mediocre reviews. A lot of people aren't really fans of it.
Good.
I'm excited to. I want to check it out from my own eyes and see how I feel about it personally.
Movie theater tickets are a little too expensive for that for me. But you know what I did see though? I saw this one meme, and it was just like that scene in the beginning of Dragon Ball Z where Goku and Vegeta are like, "Let's go and fight in an empty place," and then they went to like a movie theater for Joker 2.
Yeah.
He's like,
I
"Well,
can
there's
see
no
that.
life, so we don't have to hurt anybody."
No life forms. Yeah, I don't know, man. But you know what? With all that being
Can I
said-
close my have a
Yeah, rock
closing
Oh,
out.
yeah, say your
statement?
point. Say your point.
So I like just bashed on the first Joker movie for like 10 minutes straight. I had a point that I wanted to make about Joker 2 that was connected to that, and it was that
Go ahead.
I think we all agreed, like we said, that this whatever we thought about the first movie, it did not need a sequel whatsoever
Absolutely not.
at all. And where I think a problem, where there's probably a lot of problems with the sequel, part of the biggest problem with having a sequel to this first movie was that there was nothing really strong to base this off of to like continue. Like I stated, this was a movie about a guy who was having a pretty bad life, and he decided he wanted to act up and cause a little bit of chaos and like run amok. And that was really the end of the movie. That was just how it ended. It would have been extremely hard to make a sequel out of this where it's like he's having an even worse day, and like I couldn't really picture how they were going to like build on top of this script.
It's a sequel that was born out of success, not out of foresight.
And so like if it was more of how I wanted it, I'm not saying I'm like perfect and I'm the perfect movie director, but I really do believe, and I feel like we can all agree that if it was more of a, this is a chaotic guy who is like manipulating and coming up with different schemes to come up with something that, because he has a goal of causing chaos in a certain way, but he's a master criminal, you can kind of maybe make a movie script. Even then, I still think it would have been hard, but you can kind of make a sequel out of that to like build upon. But since they didn't go that direction, and it was just more of like, he's just an average guy who's just wanting to cause a little bit of chaos. Like most normal people in real life, they get arrested and that's the end of them. They don't have a sequel to their like criminal record.
I'm trying to figure out who DC is running these ideas, like Warner Brothers, who they're running these ideas by, and they're like, yeah, it's gonna be gas. Like, let's do this.
So I can tell you actually. So before James Gunn and Peter Safran came and became DC Studios, Joker 2 was already way in production, so they couldn't, stop it or whatever. So it was still underneath the Warner Brother Pictures executives, right? Now, from what I read, and I could be missing a key detail, I could be wrong, but what I was reading is that Joker 1 was such a good success, they gave the director originally didn't want to do a sequel. He was fine just doing Joker 1 and just calling it a day. But Warner Brothers Pictures just gave him such a fat check that he's like, shoot, I'll come up with something. If I can get this 200... the movie budget from Joker 1 was 50 million. Joker 2's budget is 200 million. There was absolutely no reason for a jump that massive, right?
It was all the performers for that musical. That's what it was.
Yeah, it had to be, right? So... what I seen is that James Gunn even said that he gave notes to the director regarding Joker 2, like some notes that I guess like James Gunn probably felt like he wanted to share. But Joker 2's director, I'm just calling him Todd Phillips. His name's Todd Phillips. He's the same one who did the Hangover trilogy, if you know that one. He politely, in a way, was trying to say like, he's cool with James Gunn trying to give him notes and everything like that, but this is strictly a Warner Brothers movie. That's what he say. It's not a DC production. It is strictly a Warner Brothers production. And what was very jarring about what I was reading is that it feels like the movie executives was hands off with this entire production process, right? Because they even said that Joker 2 didn't have any test screenings. So there was nobody there to give him any feedback or anything to like tell him like, hey, you have to change this. Yeah, so for the entire production, he didn't have a single test screening for any of the audiences. So he didn't take this to any festivals until like I think the last minute, basically, and it got canned by people who went to go see it in festivals. So basically, what you're seeing is that you had these movie executives, saw a director have a first movie be such a success, they gave him a blank check to say do whatever you want to do, repeat 1 billion. Matter of fact, try to get to 2 billion if you can. And Todd Phillips either felt like he came up with some type of story to justify the budget and just didn't want any feedback from anybody. And that's how we got Joker 2 of how it is now. So I don't know. This is an example of studios. This is an example where I'm like, you know what? There should have been maybe some studio interference on this one. Maybe you guys probably should have stepped in and been like, why are you doing this? But
I just can't imagine who thought they were cooking.
Yeah, I mean, hey, look, I'll go see it still because I want to see how Lady Gaga is as Harley Quinn. But I agree with Malcolm 100%. This Joker 1 felt like it should have been it. I feel like if you was gonna do a Joker 2, my hypothetical idea is you would have to have made Joker in the first movie, like Malcolm said, very manipulative, very creative, very mastermind. And Joker 2 for me will be like pretty much like a prison break movie. Like him now trying to just break out of prison.
Great idea.
Coming like joining some gangs or joining with some people alliances.
But that would have been a prison break movie in Gotham. That actually don't sound half bad. Mm-hmm. But instead it seems more like it's centered around like kind of cashing in on the Harley Quinn hype.
Yeah,
and
you could have easily.
I can't get down with that.
I agree. You could have easily, if you wanted to, to please the minds of the fans, just have a whole fun of fan service. Throw in Killer Croc if you want to, or Mr. Freeze, or Professor Pig, or Victor Saz, or whoever you want. Just any Gotham villains in there. Like, yeah, by the way, they're also in here too. And Joker has to talk to them. He's trying to build relationships, bonds, betrayals, like stuff like that. Like where he's trying to get out of prison, but he has to use his charm or his mind to break out. Stuff like that. But who knows?
Yes, maybe that isn't. Joker's charming and charismatic, even if that's like a bad way to describe a supervillain who's like a mass murderer.
That's true.
That's what he is. He's somewhat charming and charismatic enough for people to still follow him and still believe in him. Name one moment in that first movie where the Joker was charming and charismatic.
Yeah,
when he was trying to talk to that black girl in the elevator.
Oh yeah, you mean in his dreams? Spoiler alert! His dreams.
I'm joking, obviously.
Look,
my man. No. I was watching this movie with homegirl, and she was like, "Did he really bag her?" And I didn't want to say anything, bro, because I'm like, "Ain't no way this dude just walk into some girl's apartment like, you left the door open." Looking behind, I actually and then she came to his comedy show and he was just laughing the whole time.
Yeah, if there's one thing we gotta give to Arthur Fleck, is that he is open to dating black women, and that is something that you gotta give credit to.
I mean,
you gotta give credit, and I know someone else who likes to be with racially ambiguous people, women, and that's Aang. From Avatar: Last Airbender.
Okay.
Oh my god.
So
really
we're transitioning over.
I was like, what are you talking about?
We are transitioning over to Avatar: Last Airbender. Apparently, the franchise has a whole big announcement now. So it is, upon my understanding, that Avatar: Last Airbender is now getting a video game adaptation, and surprisingly, it's going to be AAA RPG game, basically, with Paramount Studios. This came out not that long ago. I think about like last week, and it's going to be Paramount Game Studios and Saber Interactive. If you don't know who Saber Interactive is, they're mostly um, they're mostly a studio that does a lot of like ports. So if your video game is on the Xbox, for example, but hasn't been on the Switch yet, Xbox will probably partner with Saber Interactive to like make it possible to now play a game on the Switch or PlayStation or whatever. So they're known for ports, they're known for remasters, but they're also known for developing Space Marines 2, which is a recent game that came out and it looks amazing. Um, but I wanted to talk to y'all a little bit about this a little bit. So it says there's very little details at the moment, but they are developing it, and it seems that it's going to be set 1,000 years before Aang and the Aang Gang's adventures. You'll be able to master all four elements. You'll be able to engage in dynamic combat. So how do you guys feel about this, like story wise, of not being able to be part of the Aang Gang era, but more so just
I got a question.
your
for
own
y'all.
avatar? What's up?
Like, instead of just telling you what I think, like just open discussion. Like, do
Yeah,
y'all
what's
think
up?
this is gonna be, or would you enjoy this if it, instead of telling me what I think it's gonna be, but do you think it'll be more enjoyable for it to be like the same way they did Hogwarts Legacy type time, where there's just like a lot of like freedom from oversight, expansion on existing lore without like necessarily being so overly tied to characters? Because then it gives it some breathing room. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I never played
I see
Hogwarts
what you
Legacy.
I
Don't know
played it,
anything about
yeah.
it other than what you just told me. Sorry for all the fans out there, but I don't care. I will say that I am interested, and I think I do like this direction. Like, I feel like if you told me this like 2 years ago, I'd have been like, "That's dumb." But now I'm kind of just like, I think
Just
it's
like,
a
let's
good
see what
idea
happens.
to, yeah, just do something like completely different. It's not like it's a couple years before or after like the original show's like timeline. It's like thousands of years. It's nowhere near, but it's still the same universe. And so it gives you a
Yeah.
chance to explore and open up more lore or open up more just like world building, but also like not touching the story, which if they did, it would have a chance to like make the game less fun by just like changing some things or making things a little bit less interesting, or like having people focus more on Easter eggs or just like hidden things that like have to tie into the show that's like not actually about the game and game mechanics, but like now they can actually explore game mechanics and just give us something
Yep.
different. Like, I love Avatar. It's like my second favorite show of all time. I've watched it so many times. I can talk about it. I can listen about it so many times. I won't get tired of it, but I still think it's
Ew.
interesting to get something different. Yeah,
This
what?
looks horrible.
What is this?
Yeah, that's an Avatar video game.
That looks like a
No.
PS2 game.
Yeah, no, I know.
That trying to look like a PSP emulator.
Avatar: Last Airbender: Quest for Balance.
It came out
When did
last
this
year.
come out? Yeah,
Dude,
2023.
when I looked at the link that
Wow.
you sent, I was surprised. I've played a couple Avatar games. I didn't realize there were that many of them that came out and that many of them that were that recent. I never heard any of these.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, who's advertising these games and who's buying them? Because again, like, if I take my optimism and put it aside, like, I'm thinking like it would be better to drop this idea for a AAA Avatar game from a position of strength. And if I'm honest with you, they're not cooking from a place of strength. Because let's be real,
they're
like,
not.
they're just dropping all this money on Avatar projects. It's widely considered that a lot of people didn't like how Korra ended, and the live action had. If you hadn't seen Avatar: Last Airbender, you probably loved the live action. If you were a huge fan of it, you most likely didn't, or
I
at least were heavily
wonder-
critical of it.
Yeah, I don't know how you can. Well, I guess I can see how you can, but I feel like Avatar is such a IP where you really could, if you really want to be creative, you can do a lot of good stuff here. Whether it was set during Aang's time or if you want to make your own, create an Avatar type of character, I think you really have a world that you can really cultivate and make it so interesting. So it's so weird to see so many Avatar games not reach that. You know what I mean? It's just kind of odd. I don't
I
know.
think it's a good idea to not have gameplay of the story, because I think it'll just be very hard to just make a game that is pretty much just the show but in gameplay form, and like make it very interesting. Like I can see where they make it somewhat interesting and it's like a kind of successful game. People are like, oh, it's just like the show, but like I can play as the characters. But it's not going to be like a very like game changing, no pun intended, game to where if it's like if it's 1,000 years ago and like they have so much more they can play with because there's like it's all new. Like we don't know what happened a thousand years before like Aang's time. We don't know. We barely have any idea what it looked like, how people interacted, what happened, like who are we gonna fighting? Who are we fighting against? Who's the like the enemy? Is it even people? Like
they need
so much
far
more
enough
things that they can do.
Yeah, but then you also gotta remember Legend of Korra, like in the second book, kind of like ruined that old mysticism when they went all the way out to the first Avatar.
That's true.
As cool as it was right in the moment, immediately after the hype settled, you're just like, oh crap, they probably shouldn't have done that. Because now there's no mystery with the world anymore. And the mysticism is gone.
Yeah, it's because I'm about to say, like, we before Legend of Korra, we didn't really know, like, the first Avatar and, like, the story and backstory behind it. But with... Man, if they wanted to, they have an opportunity here if they wanted to. Since Korra pretty much like just I don't want to say destroyed, but kind of sort of like kind of erased the made a new Avatar line. I'll just say that she made a new Avatar line starting. I feel like you could have just took that further now. Now you can just say, okay, well this is after Korra now. Like a couple of years, the gang is gone, so now this is a whole new setting that we've never seen before. So we don't know the Avatar line whatsoever, and then start from that point. But I feel like for a lot of people, they are from what I've seen, they're either sad because they wanted to hang out with the Aang gang world. Like they wanted to see Zuko, Azula, and obviously Aang, Katara, and all of them. And some of them are okay with going very far back in the past, but it's like, okay, but like what do we like? What era are we talking about? Because even Aang's era wasn't like some technologically advanced type of place. So we're going further back. Like, what does that entail, basically? So I have no idea, but I just thought it would be very interesting to talk about the idea that we're getting another Avatar game. So
yeah, I don't think there's a lot of hype for it. They would have to really show up and show out with some gameplay text, but that gameplay that we were just watching looked horrible.
It was so good, wasn't it? It was amazing. It was top tier quality.
Normally, I'm like, I mean, you can watch something. That's ADHD talking. But the reality is like I'm always the one who's talking about like we shouldn't like overly like be glazing games over graphics because graphics don't make a game, but graphics sure do carry you up to a certain point.
They do.
And that game looked 20 years old.
That's why I was so shocked. It came out last year. I was like, dang, either I'm old or this game like they did not care about this game.
Underfunded or just
rushed production.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, probably. I don't know.
They're probably just trying to push something out, and hopefully someone was dumb enough to grab a game off the shelf and buy it for their kid. But that's not how like TV show based video games work anymore. Way back in the day, you can make a lot of money because games were cheaper to make. Like Kung Fu Panda 2 drop, you're gonna see like DS games at Target. And some kids will be like, I remember like in that movie, and you're gonna buy it and make the money back. But you're not really doing that anymore with games.
You're not. No, you're definitely not doing that. I want to see how they describe this world. So let's say they go already back in the past, right? They say thousands of years, right? So I don't know if they're gonna talk about it, but if they want to be real, if they really want to get my dollar, I would love to make. I want to be fully immersed into this world, right? So I would love to make my avatar and give me customization options. You know what I mean? Like Baldur's Gate 3 customization.
Yeah,
if I want to
be
a shadow, if I want to be pitch black, let me be pitch black. If I want to be like a dragon, if I want wings, But let's just say if I'm a black person down here back in the day, I want to be able to walk through the Fire Nation or walk to any of pretty much a Fire Nation, and they have to call me a slur so I can be fully immersed into this world.
Customization needs to be on point.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
To be.
I don't know about the slur talk, but I think character customization.
You have to immerse yourself. If you don't immerse yourself into
to like have like old school Soul Calibur level of like character customization mixed in with just like a lot of really, and also what would be really dope is if they really expanded on like attack styles instead of just like 4 basic attack styles based off your thing, but if they had like skill based systems like a lot of games already have where you like develop new techniques and they're based off of actually existing martial arts, or even like integrate weapons within bending. That would be tight.
We're asking a lot.
Weapons.
We know this is not going to happen, but
Hey,
what we're talking about, this sounds
could.
like a great game. I would buy this.
All right, because I want to talk about the game that I want to play. I'm not going to talk about the game that I know is going to suck. Like, if I'm going to play this game, like, again, like, this is just like straight fan service. Like, if they had like weapons and they already have like existing martial arts styles baked into the Avatar mythos, how hard that would be to put into a video game? Extremely hard. But, you know, they keep blowing billions on like trash like cash grabs. They might as well just make a really good game.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
think that I would prefer something where like they have multiple martial arts styles. They say you're gonna be Avatar, so I already know you're gonna master all 4 elements. But I would really love like a good skill tree. That I want it to feel kind of like, you know how when you play those Pokemon games and there's obviously one element that's superior to the other and stuff like that. Like depending on who you go against. Like if you have electricity, then you're weak against this, but you're strong against that. I wanted something like that too, where maybe base level everyone might be the same because it's really base, very simplistic level. But then the more advanced you get into whatever elements, you get to really show the difference of, oh, let me stay away from the Earth Kingdom because this waterbending skill will not match up with their advanced ability of earth bending, right? Or lightning bending, lava bending, like just so many stuff you can do. You can dive into this thing, you know?
Do you think they should make it a multiplayer game and add like a competitive element, or do you?
Yes, I want to fight people. I want to kick them off the hill.
They can somebody that off.
Yeah.
He was like, man, I just want to fold somebody. I think the reality
with voice
is
chat.
There's too many live service games out there already right now. And people are already way over capacity, and EA and a bunch of other companies are already way over budget and keep striking out because they think that they can just like, people are spending all their money on these 4 or 5 live service games. We'll just drop a couple and make the same money. And I was like, that's not how that works, because guess what? They're still playing the games that they're playing. And unless you get something new enough or different enough, not the exact same, the carbon copy and the slight swap out, like what they're doing, then people aren't going to be playing anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
can't see people doing that for Avatar.
I think I see it. Avatar is such a wide. Avatar to me is like Hogwarts Legacy. It's such a big IP that nothing stopped Hogwarts Legacy being successful. Even the author being transphobic didn't stop Hogwarts Legacy being a moneymaker. Right now, to be fair, it isn't. Hogwarts Legacy isn't a live service game, so I'll give you that on that. But I will say that if they came out with a Harry Potter live service game like in the next 2 to 3 years, like, hey, we worked on this, we took our lessons from the legacy, and now we have a full-fledged live service, it's game over. People are gonna go and do it. Same thing with Avatar. I think go ahead.
You got to keep in mind, like, Hogwarts Legacy worked because they gave a high quality. The more precious the IP is to a fan base, the harder it is to like hit that lightning in a bottle, because for one, like, fans aren't going to be satisfied with some cheap cash brag. That's why nobody even knows about any of those Avatar games that's come out, because nobody's going to talk about like that. And so if they like pour all this money and then put like millions of dollars into advertising just for the game to come out and be trash, it's actually going to hurt them a lot more.
Yeah, especially because Avatar, you already saw what happened with the live action, how people didn't like it, and
because they changed a lot of core tenets of the storytelling.
But that's why this studio's doing the smart thing of going so far back that's like, can you really complain about them changing things up or doing something? Because I don't know, it's just, I feel like if they want to do an Avatar live service, they have to start with just making like you said, a good, solid first AAA Avatar game, and then take what they learned and then go build a live service Avatar game a few years down the line. I don't think their thing out the gate should just be one, because there'll be so many mistakes, so many things you're trying to learn. I really do think that if they make an Avatar live service, I will play it. If it's really good too, like I make my own Avatar, I can go battles. Me, you, and Malcolm can be in the party, raid a whole nation or whatever.
Games to keep me busy. This game has to like.
You gotta put this game up there, man.
No, because guess what? Spark and Zero, that game earned my hype. And guess what they did? They poured their heart and souls into that game, and it is being received because of that. People are finding new Easter eggs every day because of how good that game is. I can't imagine the Avatar team doing that because they have a track record of literally never living up to the original. Where Dragon Ball games actually elevate and enhance the source material. I've never seen that done for Avatar in any
What a
capacity.
nerd.
I will
Always bring some
say,
Dragon Ball.
James, clip this. I'm about to make a clip-worthy thing.
Go ahead.
Larian Studios. Anyone who knows who that is? James, you know who that is? Larian Studios.
Who's
Larian Studios? They're the studios that created Baldur's Gate. They're a relatively new company. They were really small until they made Baldur's Gate 3. Jason, I know you haven't played it yet. I mean, like, anyone who's listening who knows, obviously it won Game of the Year. It deserved it. Flat out. I was skeptical first playing it. After 3 months, I was like, this is probably one of the best games I've ever played in my life. Larian Studios, if you want to have a second Game of the Year, take 70% of what you did with Baldur's Gate. I'm not even saying 100, 70%, and just make an Avatar game, and you will be successful. You did so many great things and went above and beyond. And if you just do 70% of that and put that into an Avatar game and take your time, you will have the Game of the Year. I guarantee it. It might even be one of the highest selling games of all time. I guarantee.
Avatar has a concept that it is brimming with the idea of a great concept. If you really sit down and think about how can I make this work? How can I really bring out the Avatar world? The only thing though is, I don't know if you're considering this part of it too, Malcolm, but I wonder what people want a turn-based Avatar game though.
It doesn't even have to be turn. That's part of the 30%.
It better not be a turn-based Avatar
It's
game.
not even a turn-based game, but more. Okay. Actually, yeah, no, don't make a turn-based game.
It better not be.
But in terms of quality of the visuals, the visuals are stunning. The story, way, the mechanics, the way the movement, the flow, the world, just the way they built the details and every single thing. Just so many different variations of so many different characters you can play in Baldur's Gate. It is a breathtakingly masterful game, and if you can just take 70% of that and turn that into an Avatar game, and just make it to where you can customize your character. I'm just getting hyped thinking about it. But I guarantee you, this will be one of the highest selling games of all time. I'd bet my life that it's be one of the highest selling games of all time. I'm that confident.
You bet your life.
I'm confident. If they do it the right way, it would be one of the highest selling games of all time. Because Avatar is really popular already, and if they just make it a beautiful game, I can't imagine people not wanting to buy it.
No. You bet your life.
I'm that confident.
What?
I'm confident.
But to be fair, he's played Baldur's Gate 3, and a lot of people love it. And I've seen gameplay. I can understand why it deserves Game of the Year. So if he's saying that if you gave the keys to the studio who made the Game of the Year, who sold so many copies, yeah, I get it.
It's because that studio really cared about what they were making, and that you can tell by every single detail that they put into that game that I trust them to be that careful with what they are given.
I would just say you'd run the risk of doing the thing where you're this thing I really enjoy comes from place or studio A. They're gonna just do it again. And you just put all your eggs in that basket, and you almost just try to rehash and repeat, and that's not even how art works. Because everyone's gonna be I just had that dish. It's if you played a song at a party, it's oh, this is great, and then you just hear the song replay at a party. It seems y'all just play this. It's just yeah, we were turning up to it, but you can't just do that right now, right away, and it's gonna be super obvious and lose a bad taste in your mouth. That's why you have all these Fortnite clones and Destiny clones and all that nobody plays.
Oh, then I lose my life.
Dang.
Hey,
well,
yo.
He rolling the dice, man. He's been playing Baldur's Gate 3 for 5-6 months now, so he's definitely been digesting this game.
Y'all see where I'm coming from, though, right?
I see where you're coming from, 100%. I understand not when to trust his game or the studio right away. I need gameplay.
Saying don't trust them. I'm just saying don't put all your eggs in one basket.
I need gameplay. And hopefully a demo, so I can really get my hands on it. Yeah. But speaking of that, I did want to bring up something that I did think was pretty interesting, because I don't know. I feel like we've talked about the big three so much that a lot of people kind of ran with the same point of, and I run with the same point too, which is yeah, Bleach, Naruto, One Piece are the big three, right? Malcolm loves when we talk about Naruto because he loves the one anime he watches,
Yes, the one
of
thing I've
it
ever
being the
seen.
big 3
Mhm.
So
Malcolm, I'm so mad you still haven't seen any of Dragon Ball. I am like just so mad because it's so
it is
gas.
amazing. Yeah, it is amazing. I
So,
think go ahead, Jason.
so I'm like, I'm glad you brought this up just because like I've spent the last couple years rewatching a lot of older shows, like between like a lot of the old DCAU stuff, between Batman, the animated series, Superman the animated series, all the Justice League animated series, Justice League Unlimited, even Batman Beyond and all that. And so much of it ages really well. I also went back and rewatched the original Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, and I'm telling you, like, it's even better than I remember, which is unusual for properties that old. It's almost 40 years old, bro.
Mm,
Like, Dragon Ball came out in the 80s. Like, you got to
I
think
know.
about that.
I
Like,
know.
and the cats are like, it's old, so I won't watch it. Even Felipe texted me like a couple months ago. He was like, "Man, I'm so sorry. You are so right. Like, I shouldn't have judged it by its older graphics. The show's amazing. I don't even know it." I was like, "Exactly, exactly." Because again, like these shows are remembered for a reason. Like even some of my favorite shows, nobody talks about anymore.
Yeah, like School Days. It's definitely just a missing piece of art. I just really, I just really wish that we was talking about the nostalgic anime, what's that anime you watch, Jason? Gantz,
Gantz, what are you
Gantz.
talking about?
Old school anime that cherished memories.
Gantz, I
Oh,
remember that show. It's like, oh, I don't think I
yeah,
watched all of it though.
Gintama.
Gintama is
Um,
good, but
but
Gintama's only good if you were really into anime at the time that the episodes are airing, because so much of the humor is contextual.
it is if you're into like the shonen anime tropes and just shonen or just anime overall. Yeah, I think, but that's why I wanted to bring it up because in the big three, a YouTube channel, a YouTuber called Totally Not Mark, he's mostly known for Dragon Ball content, but he's dived into like other animes and mangas and did reviews and stuff like that. But he did a video, I think like a couple of weeks ago that I thought was very interesting, and he wanted to discuss about the big three, anime big three, and is it really a myth instead of factual? And Jason and I both watched the video. I don't know if Malcolm, if you watched, I don't even know if it came across your timeline or your algorithm or anything like that. But he brought some interesting stuff. So he laid the groundwork of trying to find proof of why is there considered a big three? Why is Bleach, Naruto, One Piece considered a big three? And it kind of goes, I won't say that everything that happens in the video. I'll put a link in the description of the video and also in the audio podcast notes if you want to watch the full thing. But the gist of it essentially is that he was able to talk to someone who is an anime marketing consultant, who worked on multiple projects with Crunchyroll and other the Japanese companies, etc., who produced the animes and the manga, and was able to uh, give their perspective of the big three's uh, myth or the big three discussion, essentially, right? So what's interesting about when Tolanat Mark was talking to this gentleman is that he revealed two interesting things that I thought was interesting. Is that one, the big three, the reason why, at least from his perspective on why why Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece are the big three. Jason, you can fact check me if I'm wrong too, because you watched the video as well.
Yeah,
Is because in Japan, when you got a manga like the Shonen Jump magazine, for example, you got a user feedback survey in the manga, and people would just fill out, their comments. Am I understanding that
yeah. It's
correctly,
like the
Jason?
last page of the volumes or the magazines, where
Right,
like the magazine would have like a chapter from like whatever is in production at that time, and people would feel like, oh, what's
right,
my favorite show? Like they'll do polling, active polling, but then
right.
that's also not very reliable because it's only like what 1 in 11 people
Yep.
actually, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
fill
If
out
you have
those surveys.
multiple, yeah, if you have like a million or even half a million people who read the manga, even less than that actually do the user feedback. So it's kind of like, well, how can you say those are reliable? So that was one thing. The other thing that I thought that was very interesting is that based on the findings Totally Not Mark found, is that Shonen Jump's peak, like absolute peak, and was actually during Dragon Ball's run. And it peaked at Dragon Ball Z's Buu Saga run, which is the last arc of Dragon Ball Z, essentially, right? But after that, that's when the manga kind of went down a decline. And, around
Or it
One
went back
Piece
to
and
normal,
Naruto.
let's say.
It went back to
year, real quick. What year was that?
That was in
1995.
Yeah.
Okay.
1995 was when Dragon Ball Z's manga ended. Yeah.
And then shortly
And
after
then-
the anime ended.
Right, shortly after the anime ended, and then that's when, you could say Shonen Jump went back to normalizing when One Piece, Naruto, and the other mangas came around. It did go on a decline after Dragon Ball Z came out, but then it was more stable once One Piece and Naruto came out. So, what their point is simply saying is that Dragon Ball Z just was. Well, Dragon Ball Z and Slam Dunk were kind of like an anomaly. They were like such a momentum, such a mega hit amongst people who didn't really read manga.
Yeah.
It was so popular that once Dragon Ball Z and I guess Slam Dunk ended, it just
If
went
you were
back to the
already
status
a
quo.
manga reader, you left
Yep.
the magazine.
You left the magazine. The only thing that was left was the people who did read manga, which is why I explained the decline after 1995. And I thought that was very interesting too, because it was kind of like, so One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach, they are popular, but they're not the saving the magazine that a lot of people are saying of why Shonen Jump made them the big three, essentially. Jason, did I miss something too that he said in the video?
I think you got it right, but I think the main point of the video was to really all right, people throw around the term big three all the time, and I've had James and Malcolm, you guys have heard me rant ad nauseum about how much it used to trigger me when people would start to be like, oh, this is the new big three, and this is the new big three. It's almost just like we almost feel like there has to be a big three, and it's like you can't admit that it's over, it's finished. Like there was only one big three, like that only happened at that time, and I don't know, there's a lot of different ways that people were using to describe what is a big three, what
cultural
isn't a big three,
sales,
and as far as I'm concerned, it's just those are three shows that were popping off for a long time together, and also popped off in the West together in a way that was not at the same level of Dragon Ball Z, but was reminiscent of it. I think it was just its own era, and I think there's always just all right, whatever's the top three, and then people argue like there has to be a big three, and I was like, what if there isn't a big three? What if there's just a lot of good shows, but their run times are not the same? And also back then, I feel like anime was running for every single week. It was serialized, and now everything went back to seasonal because obviously people aren't responding well to filler, shows that are really good that kind of lost steam because of having to slow down and keep up with the manga. That whole bad cycle that people have almost made a meme out of in anime. Shows like World Trigger dropped off the face of there, or Hitman Reborn for reasons like that because production is just harder to maintain. And now we're doing seasonal anime, so that time of anime is never going to happen again. The way they wrote shows, those shows, you wouldn't get away with writing shows like that today. People don't have the patience or the attention span for shows like that today, and the audiences are different. We've all grown up a bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you wrote a story exactly like Naruto today, it wouldn't do well.
No. I see, there's a funny trend on Twitter right now, on I guess manga Twitter, if you want to call it that space, and they're posting the popular moments in Dragon Ball, like when Vegeta fought Frieza and Frieza was just pounding Vegeta, when Goku gave Cell the Sensu Bean to restore his health and everything like that. And a lot of people were saying that if this manga came out today, people will be calling it trash, and Toriyama doesn't know what he's doing, and it's rushed and all this. It would have been wild to see what Dragon Ball would look like on social media nowadays,
But then I also halfway disagree because I'm rewatching it. And I'm like, all right, I'm watching a show that's almost 40 years old, in terms of when the original source material was written, in the 80s till now in the mid 2020s. And I'm just this is holding up narratively, plot holes included.
I agree.
Where I think it has just this breath of life and originality to it that it's just you can almost tell they were just going with the flow. And obviously that doesn't work for every single story, and obviously it slows itself down at times. But then shows have fallen into this playing it safe rut for so long that not a lot of times I would rather watch these like tongue-in-cheek, like almost just downright corny storytelling from these older shows than some of the newer stuff. And so like I kind of like I used to agree with like, oh, if Dragon Ball Z came out today it would bomb, but I was like, I don't even think that's the case, because otherwise shows like Demon Slayer wouldn't have popped off, and that show is not sophisticated at all. It is bare bones simple with really good execution, and I feel like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z had excellent execution.
Oh yeah, yeah, I think it did as well. I think that's why for me, I love it. I go back and I watch the anime and I read the manga sometimes, occasionally, just the chapters that really got me, and it still just hits. Same thing with Naruto. You know, when I read the Naruto manga, I'm just like, wow, I can see why you guys enjoyed it. It's still a 7 out of 10, but I can still see why you guys enjoy the Naruto and why it really touched y'all's hearts. Because my growing up, my anime was Dragon Ball, essentially, right? But it's also interesting too because
you're selling Naruto a bit short.
Look, look, Jason. Either you want me to be cool with Naruto or Gintama. You gotta choose which one you want me to be cool with. Only one or the other.
Just let him go.
All right.
He's always gonna do this. It's okay. he just doesn't get it.
No, he said it under his breath, like, "Oh, it's a 7 out of 10, by the way."
He really meant to say 4 out of 10, but he's trying to not get canceled. So.
No. Naruto is not 4 out of 10. It ended horribly, but it was an amazing journey.
No, Naruto it is an amazing journey. I'll give it that. But yeah, that's why
people are gonna call One Piece 7 out of 10 once it ends, because it's not gonna live up to the hype, bro.
The theories that people are having is really what's gonna crush it, man. And that's what's so sad to see.
I mean, I have my theories about what it's gonna be, but if they say friendship at the end of the show, bro, I promise you, people are gonna crash out, bro.
Yeah,
the world might end, honestly.
All right, I need to ask your opinion. If you guys had the last 5 years, and you had to choose 3 of the shonen heavyweights that you would call big 3, you got 30 seconds. What are they?
James, go.
The shonen, like new shonen big 3.
Yep. Last 5 years.
Last 5 years. Okay, I'll give it to you easy. Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen, and I would say One Piece. I would say them 3.
Nah, bro.
Them 3.
I feel like you can't add One Piece or
One Piece is old generation.
Like
I think One Piece is its own separate elephant.
All right, I'll give you that then. If then without One Piece, then the only in the last 5 years,
there's only one answer.
Black Clover.
Really? Interesting.
Black Clover.
I think Black Clover fell off. Nobody's talking about it. It's not making any noise.
What would you say it was?
I would have said My Hero.
What would you say?
Oh yeah.
My Hero came out way before 5 years ago.
No,
My Hero
but like,
was on
it has been running in the last 5 years. And the only exclusion I'm making to that was One Piece, because One Piece started in 1998, bro. 99, my bad.
It's not the same.
But it's still peak cinema,
bro. It's done, bro.
That's not what he's saying. Like with it,
the core of its fan base was existing. Like the majority of its story was within those 5 years.
Okay. Okay.
My Hero came out it started popping up in 2016, 2017, and that was like 7 years ago. And it's just now like announcing its final season for next season, mind you.
So yeah, I would say Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen, and My Hero, probably the quote unquote big 3.
Also,
to be honest with you, go ahead.
Before My Hero dropped, anime was on a decline. It was just all it was feeling like everything was just stale from like 20 like.
At least Shonen,
Shonen was really stale for a minute until Black Clover and Demon Slayer both dropped, and then a couple years later, JJK.
When did My Hero come out, actually? My Hero.
2015, 2016, one of those two.
Man, 2015 feels so far. 2018 was his first episode. Okay.
Really? 2018?
We were in college, bro.
Wow.
That
Black Clover was 2017.
Nah, bro. There's some hiatuses that make it feel that long. There's the waiting for each season makes it feel way longer, Malcolm. But I'm also kind of glad they didn't do that, because I'm not gonna lie, I don't even want to watch One Piece anymore, bro.
Good.
Yeah, read the manga at this point.
Because reading the manga just got a taste in my mind of what it's like to not stay in the same arc for 4 years straight.
Yeah.
It's
I think I feel like if now, mind you, I never really watched this growing this anime, but I know a lot of people did enjoy it when the first season came out. So I'm surprised it's not in conversation anymore. But One Punch Man could have been seen as
That was a
up there
gag
with the big
manga,
three.
bro.
Who cares? So was Dragon Ball,
It's
but
not a long
it still
story.
could
It's
have
not a
worked.
long form storytelling. Like that's the premise of what I'm saying, right? Like a show that's running for years at a time. One Punch Man was not like that.
That's true. I'll give you that. But then, like, same. Well, that's true because JJK is like what? Probably last like 3 seasons, maybe. My Hero Academia was like what? 8 seasons now.
My Hero's on like season 6 or 7 now. 6, I think.
6 or 7, 1 and 2. I think
One
it's
or
7. 1 and 2. Demon Slayer season 3, right? They should be done, right?
Yeah,
Demon
they're about.
Slayer.
This next season's about to be the last season, if not
yeah,
just
so
a
it's
movie.
3
Or
seasons.
is it just a movie they're about to drop it? And end it with?
Is it Malcolm?
Because I really hope it's
you're
a
Demon
movie.
Slayer fan.
Because that last season
see.
was like the first half was slow.
It was slow.
But then it was so good after that.
It was really good at the end.
Yeah,
It
they're
was
on
so
season
good
7.
that I stopped hating on Demon Slayer.
Was the reason? So the Demon Slayer movie came out this year. Was it R-rated? Really?
It was R-rated. What?
Really?
For what?
I mean, that's what
What?
it says when I googled. To the Hashira training, it's R-rated. Yeah. Dang, I gotta watch it then. I didn't know Demon Slayer would move like that. Go ahead.
Okay,
Demon Slayer.
okay, Demon Slayer.
All right. All
I
right.
mean,
Fine. You know what, Jason? I'm like, hold on. I actually
What?
can answer your question about the big three now. Okay.
All right.
And I can throw Dragon Ball in there too, because Dragon Ball Super came out 2017. That's within the 5 years. That thing
Dragon
broke
Ball
records.
Super?
Stop it.
It
Dragon
broke
Ball
records.
Super?
It
Are you
broke
kidding
records.
me?
It
Are
broke
you
the
kidding
records
me right
when
now?
Goku and the red
Please,
alien dude
please.
episode happened.
Don't say
Ultra
that.
Instinct Goku did not break records.
Ultra
Yes.
trash.
Ultra, don't say ultra,
Ultra
trash.
doo-doo butter, bro. Are you
Nah,
kidding
bro.
me?
Dragon Ball Super is up
Dude,
there right
the
now with the
first
big three.
80 episodes was like the slowest
That
recap
don't
of 2
mean
movies
nothing.
Bro,
And it was still pulling in viewers.
Bro.
Dragon Ball Super,
it
Demon
was
Slayer,
pulling in
JJK.
viewers based off of a fan base held hostage because they were starving for content. Does
I
that
eat
count?
You
You got
Yes.
Stockholm syndrome, bro. I didn't
Cultural
watch that.
impact,
Oh,
viewership. Come on now. Come on.
I did catch up to the manga. I ain't gonna lie. The
There you
last
go.
2
Come
arcs
on now.
weren't half bad,
Come on.
but
Wait
they
till
weren't-
Wait till they do them.
but they were only half good. That's not good enough.
Come on. now.
50%
Don't
on
be
your
hating.
test.
You tell me you didn't like Goku Black?
Right.
That whole arc was so stupid.
I didn't
bro.
even watch it, and I like Goku Black.
Boom.
Dude,
there you go. Jason's a hater.
Don't
That's all
care,
it is.
bro. You know why?
Jason's a hater.
Dude,
Here he goes.
The conclusion to the end of that arc. Think about it this way. And they acted like nothing happened. The conclusion to the end of that arc was we went to the future to try to help Trunks. His hair blue now. He's getting sold. He's getting dragged and worn out by everybody. What happened to the OG like Dragon Ball Z Trunks? Nobody knows. They do all this stuff, all this rigmarole. Zamatsu and Goku Black fuse, and then they get sliced up for some reason. Trunks gets some weird transformation that don't make any sense, and they just run with it. And at the end of it, everything goes wrong anyway. And then they get the other dude to just erase that entire universe, everyone who existed in it. And then Trunks goes back to their main timeline and just acts like everything's happily ever after. What? Are you kidding me? Everyone
Sounds fire
that
to
Trunks
me.
was trying to save just got killed, finished, finito,
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
And then they're like,
Is that
oh,
not
well,
peak
that's
cinema?
that. No, not at all. Are you kidding me?
Hey, look, man. I understand
Do you?
that Dragon Ball Super is not like for a lot of people is better than Z or even Dragon Ball. I get it.
It
it.
didn't have to be better. It just had to be good.
But the Tournament of Power arc, I enjoyed it for what it was. I accept what
That's
modern
all they
Dragon
got,
Ball.
bro.
Oh, you know what? I gotta watch Dragon Ball Daima. I gotta watch that too. That's
Dragon
already
Ball
big
Daima-
three right there. Dragon Ball
Dragon Ball
Daima's
Daima
big three.
just started. They don't even got 3 episodes out. That don't.
It don't matter.
They don't
One
even
episode,
got 3 episodes out, bro.
automatically big
I'm
three.
saying stuff that has an established amount of content out right now. Dragon Ball Daima is like right out the gate. It's too early for that.
That's true. That's true.
But you know,
give us some time.
One last question.
Hmm.
What have you guys been watching anime wise lately? 'Cause I've been seeing a lot of good stuff, bro.
I mean, I've been between moving and starting
What
my new job. I barely watched anything. I've
what's
barely
in your
talked to
backlog,
people.
Malcolm?
So like, don't know. What do I have backlog? What?
What's in your backlog that you plan on watching?
Hopefully Dragon Ball.
Yeah, hopefully Dragon Ball. It's on
Um.
Hulu, dude. All of it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll give you two shows. Yu Yu Hakusho
Okay.
is one that I have been like steadily
Smart.
watching, and I'm enjoying it.
Same.
That's an older one, and now
Peak.
like a newer one. I mean, besides trying to catch up with My Hero season 7, I probably will watch Doctor Stone next.
Doctor Stone is really good.
Ooh, and it's
I
done too, so you can binge
really
all
like
all
that
of
one.
it. Yeah.
They have what one
Right.
more season left to do?
They do? Oh,
They're
I
not.
guess the
The
manga's
anime is
just
not
done.
finished. The manga's done,
Okay.
but the
Okay.
anime is not finished, and so I think.
Gotcha.
But then people are acting like it's not going to get adapted for some reason.
Huh. I wonder if it's like maybe the viewership wasn't as high, and that's
I
why. I
mean,
hope it. I hope they do
but
another one.
I mean, I really, really, really like that manga and that
Yeah.
show. And I really hope the anime gets adapted. Dan Dan is straight flames, and
Dude.
I
Yeah.
just last week I was binge watching Elusive Samurai that just finished up last season. That joint is really good. Um,
Oh yeah.
I know that like anime has been like extremely oversaturated with isekais lately,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
and so I let myself like, all right, let me just like give them a shot, like just passively. Like if I don't like it, I don't like it. It's just on in the background while I'm like painting or doing whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some like pretty decent ones here and there, but most of them are still like pretty mediocre. But like they're like enjoyable.
Yeah. I think. Let's see. Donna Don is on my list. Me and my girl watched the first episode. We're actually gonna watch the second episode tonight, hopefully. Um, I what's the other one? What's the other one? Not Elusive Samurai, but Go Go Ranger. Go Go
I
Ranger.
heard good things about Go Go Ranger. I haven't seen
It's
it
good.
though.
It's really good. I highly you can't. It's only on Hulu and Disney Plus, which sucks because I really wish I had exposed. I'm trying to finish Undead Unluck, which I know you don't like as much, which is understandable.
I
I'm
saw the
honestly
first
gonna
episode.
I'm gonna give it another shot because I think a lot of these shows like you just got to be in the mood for it. And I think sometimes like I'm like in the mood for like something like more action based. Sometimes I'm in the mood for something like more serious. Like
Yeah,
I know not last season, but the season before, Kingdom was like just one of my top shows that season.
this man can't stop talking about Kingdom. This man
Bro,
love
it is
Kingdom.
so good. Like get past the first season. It's like first season's
Past
like
the
pretty.
whole
Oh,
season.
No. The
What?
first season's good. It's just like it's not like wow, this is the best thing in the universe. But then like after that, it's like it goes from like good to amazing. Is what I'm saying.
yeah.
It's not like
And they
oh you have
have
to endure the first season. It's more like enjoy the first season, really enjoy everything else.
yeah. Then you have Re Zero, which I still have to watch season two, season three. I gotta watch the recap of season one. That's how long it's been since I
Bro,
watched
just
it.
Yeah.
rewatch it. It's a great
Um,
show.
I do plan. It's really good. I don't know. I think I was probably busy during that time period, but I plan on watching that one. And Blue Lock came back with a season two, but I've heard it getting clowned a lot
Just
online because,
finished Blue Lock
um,
season 1 last week.
yeah, I heard the season two animation is filled with just still images and like shaky like effects.
I
Uh,
when
but
I was watching season 1, I noticed like a lot of the animation looks really good, but they used up all their animation on like on the still shots.
yeah,
The still shots,
yeah,
like and then the graphics showing people's position on the screen just so they can like do the strategy and all that. But then like you'll do
yeah.
like the moments where they're actually running with the ball and kicking it and stuff, and you'll just see like a glimpse of CGI and you're like, ugh.
Oh my gosh, how am I'm forgetting about even Bleach. Bleach came back too, and I gotta watch Bleach as well.
This
I
season
gotta
anime fans are eating good.
Man, yeah,
Dragon
Eden,
Ball
I'm getting full
Daima,
already, man.
Bleach,
Jeez.
Don
And
Don.
Daima, yeah, Don, all of them.
Malcolm, you got to
When
get back in your anime bag.
when's High School DxD coming out with another season, dog? We need that. The streets need it.
The streets say they need it. Yeah, I
What
agree.
do
The
the streets
streets need
really
it.
need?
And waifus. All
Can
right,
y'all
so
imagine a modern day Golden Boy?
No.
I can't. You think they could? You
I
think they
don't think
could do a
so.
modern day take?
It's
I
such a
don't know.
it's so not mainstream.
It's not, but I mean, if they want to be risky and do it, they
It
can.
is a
I don't think it'll
it's
work
a
out.
risky biscuit, but just asking.
He said just asking. Um, yeah, that's pretty much what I got so far that's up and coming. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to really discuss and everything. Did you guys have anything you guys wanted to add on before we wrap this
Anything?
up?
Y'all have pop in, Malcolm.
Um, no, nothing.
What I
Okay.
want, I want y'all to watch some of the stuff that came out last season or this season, and I definitely want to get your opinion on it because there's some stuff that's just cracking me up, bro. But I don't want to spoil it for you guys before we talk about it.
Are you talking about Elusive Samurai you want me to watch, or are you talking about
Elusive
something else?
Samurai for sure.
Uh huh.
Obviously, you're watching Don Don. Malcolm, this is the perfect time to just jump in. The season just started. There's not even 2 episodes out per show at this point.
Okay.
So
Malcolm's like, I got Yu Yu Hakusho, I got Dragon Ball,
nah,
I
gotta
bro.
rewatch
I got
No,
Naruto.
watch Don Don. Just choose two
Classroom of
shows.
the Elite. Like, all right,
Two
all
shows.
right.
That's 40 minutes a week, bro. You got
If
that,
you could
bro.
just do a weekly pace,
I
just
can.
just
Just
watch.
tune in
Because
on
it
Friday
started. I
nights.
can.
Yeah,
Just tune in
yeah,
on Friday nights and just watch an episode of Don Don and Daimler, right? Actually, no, you haven't seen Dragon
yeah.
Ball. Never mind.
He
Don't do it.
he just keeps adding.
And you
He's
plus,
just like in
and
this
you,
thing, in this thing.
and you see, you have my Hulu account, Malcolm. You can watch it on
And
there.
his
You
Crunchyroll.
Sure.
got it, and my
I already have
Crunchyroll
my
too.
own Crunchyroll.
Oh yeah, you do use your own.
Oh, that's right, that's
I'm
right.
the freeloader.
I do have like 4 different shows I'm watching between Yu Yu Hakusho, My Hero. I'm already watching Classroom Elite. I'm or what else?
Classroom of the Elite.
Oh, you watching
That
Classroom
show is
Elite? I was watching that too.
trash, bro.
Yo, don't hate on Classroom
I
Elite,
hate that
dog.
show. That's
Don't
the worst
hate.
FC ever, bro.
I started it.
Facts.
It
I'm
is the
already
most
halfway through. I have to finish
cringy,
it.
toxic show I've seen in a long time. I've never
People
seen a
love
show this
toxicity.
popular and this bad at the same time.
And
Other
I
than
don't hate
Tower
it
of
as much as
God.
Jason. I
Tower of
just
God and Classroom of the Elite are 2 shows that I find entirely overrated.
I don't even blame him. I don't. I see exactly where he's coming from. I just want to say this. I don't hate it as much as him, but I was like, I'm intrigued enough to say I'm invested.
I
Like,
get
I'm not saying that I like it. I'm not saying that it's great. I'm not saying that like everyone needs to watch it. It's like it's an amazing show. I think that I'm just interested enough in it, but it's definitely not executed.
they're not
well.
even mediocre. They're just offensive.
it's like Classroom Elite is like reality TV to me. Like it's trash drama, but you can't take your eyes away from it.
Oh, I can take my eyes away.
course
I
Turn
could
it off.
barely, I could barely keep my eyes on the screen, bro.
This dude. Yeah.
But I hear the adaptation is really out of order, and they've changed enough things from the characterization of the characters, and then they've
Really?
given you information. They've given you certain information too early, like the main guy.
Interesting.
Like you're not supposed to know he's like this super mastermind until like later on.
Oh yeah, I did hear about that. You're not supposed to know that so far.
Um,
I wonder why they did that.
And they changed
Yeah.
the love interest
Really?
from the source material to this one, and then they like
Mm.
changed how important like that one black hair girl is, the one with the brother who sucks.
Yeah.
And then that one girl who talks
Dang.
about like your hand was on my shirt, so I can get you to jail. I was like, what? like,
Oh
what?
yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
what if he picked up your shirt off of a bench or something? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like the logic is just not connecting. But even then, that's like a dumb blackmail. And it's just
Exactly.
like these characters are just so bad. Like, like I haven't
Alright.
seen.
All right, I know we gotta go.
No,
I'm sorry,
defend
Jason.
yourself. Defend yourself, Malcolm.
I
He said
will say
defend
two
yourself.
two quick points, and then I will be done. One, I like the show not because I think it's good, but I'm a sucker for plot twists. It's really dumb, and I can admit it. Like it has a lot of plot twists. I'm not even saying they're good plot twists.
Oh, just watch
I
Hunter x
just
Hunter.
enjoy them. Calm down. I'm just saying that I like plot twists, even if they're bad. And it is the show's gotten so obnoxious that I'm just like intrigued to see how more obnoxious it can be with plot twists. It's just like plot twist the show of like, oh, this character I've been setting you up. Like, well, actually I've been setting you up. Well, actually this person's been setting both of
There's
us
always
up.
some
And I'm just
gotcha.
like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Really?
it's just.
Are you
And
on
I'm
season
just
2?
like, I'm on season 2. I'm almost done season 2. All right. It's. Yes, that's all I'll say about why I'm intrigued by it. It's not even a good show. It's just I'm intrigued. Number 2, I will also say we never mentioned Chainsaw Man. That was something that I was intrigued by. They haven't come back with it yet. I'm still waiting. It's been like 2 years. Hurry up.
Chainsaw
Everyone
Man
read
could
Chainsaw
have
Man.
been.
I think it
Chainsaw Man could have. Chainsaw Man could have been part of the big 3 conversation, at least upcoming emerging conversation. But I think the season 2 will really show if people will give it its flowers or not. Because the part one of the manga is pretty good. So we'll see what happens when Chainsaw Man two season 2 comes back. We'll see. We'll
Do
see.
you like part 2 of the manga?
I haven't even read it.
I read
I
the
finished part one. I
first
didn't even get to it.
15 chapters or so of the
I
part
heard
2.
people didn't like it as much, but I heard recent chapters is popping off now. That's what I've heard.
I mean, they definitely needed to cool things down after part 1 finished, so I'm not really mad at
Yeah,
that.
especially after that stuff. Yeah, so yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Hopefully, it
But
does well. I think it's one of the better shows out.
I agree. If anything, I hope it's good. It's good. It's a dark horse for when it comes back. I feel like people are really going to be sleeping on it until it really pops out again. But
True.
yeah, we'll check it out. We'll check it out. That's it, y'all. Disrespectfully speaking. Again, this is me, James, Jason, and Malcolm. Tune in next time for another episode of Respectfully Speaking, and we are out. Peace.